that he is enjoying his rights as a Kenyan. I saw people citing the Retirement Benefits Act for the president and saying he's supposed to retire. And I always remind them that, number one, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And any act of parliament that contradicts the Constitution then becomes unconstitutional to the extent of its contradiction. If you look at President Barack Obama, the day he left office, he came back 4 years later and campaigned actively around the whole of the United States for Joe Biden. Mm-hmm. He was enjoying his rights. He continued to have state protection. He continued to have state security. And by the way, remember this time round, he was campaigning at a time when Trump was president, and he was president on not the Democrats, the Republican side. So he was campaigning against the government of the day. Mm-hmm. But he was allowed to campaign. Hakunyang'anywa security, the nonsense we hear here. Hakuambiwa hatapewa benefits, the nonsense that we are hearing here. He campaigned actively against a candidate that was the incumbent head of state. Trump would become a one-term president, like someone I know is about to become a one-term president. So Trump became a one-term president that time, and Joe Biden took over for 4 years. When Joe Biden was done, it was time for Kamala Harris. President Barack Obama came out again, and he campaigned properly against, he campaigned properly for Kamala Harris. And Trump was vying that time. That's when he secured his second term. All I'm trying to say is that if we are going to establish ourselves as a democracy, we must learn from developed democracies. You cannot have some funny legislators I saw the other day shouting at Uhuru Kenyatta and telling him to shut up and retire. You're telling him to shut up and retire as who? He has his constitutional rights. Nobody told Obama to shut up and retire. Obama went throughout the United States of America and he campaigned for the candidate of his choice, and he was respected. Na hakunyang'anywa security, na hakutumiwa small demagogues to insult him for having offered himself to campaign for the candidate of his choice. That is the kind of democracy we are looking for. Number two, he speaks about Rigathi Gachagua, which I think is a good thing. And I wish our good friend Kawajiko had come. Let us give him the benefit of doubt for having not been here. But there's something I would have told him. But I'll tell him because I know he might be watching. That Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is showing direction. He's saying, look at William Ruto. William Ruto is actually looking for Gideon Moi. He's bringing him to State House. He's shaking his hand. He's saying, let us work together. Because when those two unite, we get Singapore. But when 2-3 Kikuyus unite, you're told it's tribalism. So he's telling, and that's the message I wanted to pass to Kawanjiko, you cannot be the person who is seen to fight the people from your own region. In fact, if anything, I wish Kawanjiko had allowed himself to become the person who says, President, I will fight members of the United Opposition, but don't tell me to fight people from my own community, because you are shaking hands with people from your own community. So what Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is telling people is that we all have to work together. The politics of insulting one another will not take us anywhere. Mm-hmm. By the way, I want Kenyans to look at Fanyamambo Kinuthia and all my clips, and there are very many. I have never called the president the names I hear people calling him. I've had people call him Kasongo. I've had nicknames that have been given to the deputy president. I don't know Soprano, I don't know Sophia. I have never called them those names, but I call out their governance. I call out their leadership. In fact, I can sit on this TV and call out all the programs about the president that I think are not doing well. But calling him names, personal attacks on him, is wrong. And I think this is what Nani is saying. This is what Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta is saying. That come and say what you don't like about Rigathi Gachagua's leadership and the things he's saying. But let us not have personal attacks. If, for example, I have him here and I start giving him names, it means I have lost the agenda and I'm now insulting him. I need to fight with him as the MP for Soy, yes, and tell him as MP for Soy, I have a problem with bursary, I have a problem with this, I have a problem with this, and fight him on issues. That's why me as Fanyamambo Kinuthia, Mungu anisaidie, nimalize hii miaka 2 bila kuita President Kasongo. Because I don't think I have a problem with William Ruto. I have a problem with his presidency.
Could we be overplaying the fact that he pronounced the name Gachagua in that? He could have mentioned any other name, including the president. Because there have been...
The message he's trying to pass is that he knows that Gachagua commands a good following within the region. It is no use fighting Rigathi Gachagua. Our common enemies are known. And it's not even the president himself. It is SHA, it is primary education, it is capitation to school, it is these bursaries that are being given kiholela holela, it is the loans that we are taking carelessly. Our enemies are known, and those are the enemies we are fighting.
In Kenya long enough to understand that politics is about interest. And politics don't respect history or history benefits. It deals with the current, and there are no permanent enemies. There are no permanent friends. It is only interest, and at the end of the day, the ODM will make a decision based on their interests, and their interest, as currently, which is loud, is that they'll have to be in the next government, and they know where the next government will be.
ODM the party.
Yeah, ODM the party. They'll know where the next government will be. That is the coalition with the president. So if you think that you can never bank on history.
What about the people? Forget the party.
You can never bank on history. You can only bank on what is the interest currently.
Yes.
And the interest currently is, they are saying that for the first time since independence, they have a minister for finance. They have never had a minister for finance in between. They have a minister for energy. They have a minister for mining, and they have a minister for cooperative. And there are some still good things that will come their way. So at the end of the day, we form political parties to gain power. And power is about resources. And if as at now, they are able to be comfortable with what they are able to, what the government is able to do for them, then I believe at the end of the day, what counts in 2027 will be the interest of the party, and the interest of the party lies with our side, that is with the side of President William Samoei Ruto. So Wakilia was talking about the youth and the kind of votes they will be able to. May I also tell him, you know, sometimes also as a mathematician, you do statistics, and when you do statistics, you plot a graph. You plot a graph, and that graph tells you for every set of elections how many voters do we add. And if you look at what we have been adding ever since we cleaned our register, we have been adding between 1.5 to 2 million. So this hyper theoretical 8 million is not, you'll never add. There is no, may I finish? Even in the other elections, we wanted to go to around 28 million, and we happen to ourselves to have increased from 19 million to around 22, and half of it even don't come and vote anyway. So sometimes let us be realistic and don't believe, you know, because I've seen, you know, I'm trying to give him free advice, which people just come and look at the issues and say this is good, this is what, and they start voting. My friend, you are not in Kenya.
We have about 4 minutes to go.
So what I wanted to say is that Kalonzo as a regional kingpin from Mukambani, whether we like or not, that is, we can slice a bit, maybe 10 or 15%, but at the end of the day, the Mukambani nation will listen to Kalonzo. At the end of the day, the Kalenjin nation will listen to William Samoei Ruto. So every region have their own unique way, and you have to deal well like that. Okay. If you are intending to gain power in Kenya, and you are reasoning like Wakili, and there are so many politicians we have seen him reasoning like Wakili, PLO Lumumba, there are so many examples that have tried to create an utopian society and build US in Kenya, and what they have ended up is that they might not get even votes that is amounting to a polling station, and you are contesting for a president. So I would urge you to look at the Kenyan political spectrum the way it is, treat it as a region, and know which person do you build a coalition so that you can add your numbers. And that is why we are also interested with Kalonzo. We are interested with Matiang'i because we know the kind of clout they possess. So That is it, and that is Kenyan politics for you.
Bwana Kinoti, a final comment.
I think it's very simple maths. First, who brought us the 6.8 million number? It is their own Ethicon who they really fought for and chose for. That's their own Ethicon. And I'll tell you how he arrived at it. Every single year, 1 million young people sit their KCSE. But we have a huge, bigger number that do not sit KCSE, but they are out there. 2022, after we voted that year, we got 1 million people out of school. 2023, 2024, 2025, 2026. At least there will be 5 million young people on the lower side that will have finished Form 4, that are keenly watching, and they are happy to remove a government that spearheaded the killing of Gen Zs on our streets. Let me tell you one thing. They are saying that it's utopia. These are the same people who thought that for maandamano to happen in this country, it has to be led by Raila Amolo Odinga. And I remember a beautiful young girl saying, Baba pumzika tukuonyeshe vile hii maneno inaenda. Those young people were not speaking Kikuyu, they were not speaking Luo, they were not speaking Kisii on the streets. In fact, they were a combination of all the tribes in this country. The maandamano that gave them the biggest headache, that was 2024. The anniversary of it in 2025 and the Sabasaba of 2025 were done by young people who spoke nothing but English and Kiswahili and who were mobilized with no money but believing and meeting on X space and saying, we are going to the streets and we want good governance. If those people give you a headache then, they'll give you a bigger headache in 2027. This is not business as usual. Nyinyi jaribuni kusema ni kizungu ya kina PLO na kina Fanyamambo. I am telling you for free. Anybody who is thinking of tribal alignments, we will shame you at the ballot. We will do it so properly, you will see something you have never seen. There is an old folk that is going home. There is a generation that has refused to accept that things have changed. And I am telling that generation, every time there comes a time when people say we are breaking from the past, and this is it. And mimi ukiona nikiongea hapa, I am not even speaking as passionately as they do. Nyinyi mnakuja mnasema ati huyo hata hawezi mobilize watu 10 kwa mkutano. Ni kweli. But that young person is mobilizing 1 million people on Twitter. That young person is mobilizing 200,000 people to watch a video on TikTok. Their psyche, and that's what's happening in Tanzania. Suluhu alikuwa na expect ati kuna mtu atakuja ite mkutano kama baba venye alikuwa naita watu kama Kunji. Shock on her. Young people come and do a TikTok video. It has 200,000 views. Then mnasema hizo ni likes za TikTok. Those 200,000 people find themselves on the streets. Then you start saying, walipewa pesa na Gachagua usiku wafanye maandamano.
All right. 60 seconds.
What my wakili is saying is that, you know, I had given him a free lessons in terms of statistics and growth since. And he is now imagining that between 2022 and 2025 is even not even zeroing in on the people who have left us already. You know, as you add others exit naturally. That is what happens. So he is imagining that there will be a ballooning of some sort of vote that will majestically, as if they don't, because these are our children. I have children who will be registering as voters, and at the end of the day, as a parent, I'll talk to them on what we need to do. So this white smoke they are trying to build, and
you guaranteed they'll listen to you.
Of course, of course. So I like their reasoning, but also Wakil is also speaking from both sides of his mouth. While his party leader is actually claiming that he brought